Mates of YouTube, Aussie Marcel here. You know, if you've been subbed to the channel for any degree of time, any good length of time, you'll know I don't just cover fragrances here. I also talk about my life, Aussie politics, philosophy, just my thoughts on life and stuff in general. Just got back to Melbourne after seeing Nile play at Max Watts, and they played with three Aussie bands, Carnal Viscera, Writhing and Ashen. And you know, don't get me wrong, Nile's set was pretty phenomenal, but you know, Carnal Viscera really stole the show. I think during their last song they came out on stage with a chainsaw. Just a really cool visual. I'll put the photo up, you know, over this so you can have a look at it. But they didn't rev it up or anything like that. I think that'd trigger security or something like that had they done that. But yeah, I came back from Melbourne and damn, got a little crook, or as you know, you probably say elsewhere in the world, got a little sick. Just dealing with a little bit of a cold right now. And I already feel better today than I did yesterday, but the thing about being a bloke, when you get a cold or something like that, it feels like you're dying. And like, I know the other blokes here that are watching this will be like, oh, I know exactly what he's talking about. It's just, you feel 100% all of the time, and then you take that bit of a nosedive with, you know, just a minor cold, and it feels like you're dying. It's it's ridiculous. Maybe that's just masculinity. Like, I've never known women to complain about getting colds, flus, anything like that. But us blokes, well, as soon as you get a cold, you're just, you know, chomping at the bit to tell people, oh, I'm feeling crook, mate. I'm not doing too good right now. But you always run that risk when you go down to Melbourne, go to a gig, anywhere where you're going to be around a lot of people, you know what I mean? You run that risk of contracting an illness. But I'm thankful it's not, you know, COVID or anything like that. Not that it's a big deal to me, just, you know, I'm very rarely ill. So when I do get a little bit of an illness, I do notice it. That's a bee. Did you guys just see that bee? That's pretty cool. But yeah. When you do get an illness, you just notice it even more. So before I was vegan, I was actually vegetarian for many years. I've spent most of my life plant-based. And I'm not preaching to you or anything like that, just giving you a little bit of a factoid about me. But yeah, before I was vegan, I was vegetarian for many years. And I've just noticed that generally the healthier among the, you know, the plant-based people, the vegos and the vegans and all of that, they very rarely get ill. You know, like, I know for myself, I rarely get an illness. Like, I know during the pandemic, I got, you know, I think it was after the pandemic, honestly, I got sick once. I think it was like 2022 or something, like, you know, post-pandemic, I got a bit of the spicy flu. And it was way less significant than just an average cold. The only thing that really knocked me around was losing my taste. You know, you go your entire life experiencing flavor, and then you know, a week without it, and you're like, what the hell? Everything tastes like cardboard? Ridiculous. But yeah, had an amazing time down Melbourne. Got to hang out with a lot of my best friends. One of my best friends that I usually go down to Melbourne with, he didn't tag along this time, understandable, and that was a bummer, but you know, there's always next time. But yeah, there's this outlet mall in Spencer Street, right up from Southern Cross Station. You probably know the one I'm talking about, but there's like a bookshop in there, and very few of the books are priced over $15. So you're looking at like brand new books, and they're all under $15 essentially. And there's a plethora of different genres in there. You've got classics, which is, you know, what I always sort of gravitate towards, crime fiction, you know, true crime, historical, military, you know, anything that you can think of, they've got it there. So I picked up a couple of books. I'm trying to remember what they were. I think one of them was from Sigmund Freud, but I've got a lot of my Sigmund Freud stuff like knocking around from university still here. So I may have doubled up on something, but if not, I'll just sell it for what I paid for it. No big deal. Yeah, I'm always like keeping an eye out for new stores that pop up that sell DVDs and Blu-rays as well. Inside the Spencer Street outlet, there used to be a shop there that sold a lot of like vintage DVDs, vintage, you know, Blu-rays, vinyl, old band shirts, things like that. And when I first started going to the Spencer Street outlet mall, that was my favorite store inside there, but it's no longer there, which is, it's just such a bummer to me. Just because it's so difficult to find DVDs and Blu-rays anywhere brand new in stores now. The one exception to that here in Australia is pretty much JB Hi-Fi. I know some Kmart's and Big W's still stock them, but again, you know, it's few and far between. It's generally like TV shows that they're stocking. The horror channel, Aussie Horror on YouTube, go sub to that if you haven't yet, has actually been growing fairly well. I throw a lot of my my Twitch watch parties. I host watch parties there for old horror movies that have fallen into the public domain. Just an amazing time over there, and we generally watch old crappy movies that just we're so enamored with. There's something about those old vintage horror movies. You can't beat them, especially the black and white ones from, you know, the golden age. Anything from like 1930 up until 1965. There's a good almost 30 years there where just the movies, the horror, the sci-fi, it's unbeatable, unmatched. Recently we watched an old movie called The Incredible Petrified World, and that was a special movie, man. And last week we watched, I believe the movie was called Night of the Zombies from 1981, and that was one of the roughest movies I've ever had to watch. It was hard to sit through. And so I was just messing around, like towards the end of the movie, I was paying attention because I'm always paying attention to movies, but I just got like my life-size skeleton, and I was just messing around with it, and I put on like a ghost face mask, and I was just fucking around. Just had a lot more fun doing that. And then after we finish the movies, there's always I go through the movie trivia, goofs, little tidbits, things like that. Tidbits. You know, people use those terms interchangeably. But yeah, you almost have more fun doing that than you do actually watching the movie. I know after I finished watching on the watch party, Incredible Petrified World, I think that was from 58, or maybe 57. I ended up on eBay looking for DVD or Blu-ray copies of Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. Which is actually pretty hard to find here in Australia. Same thing with the fourth Texas Chainsaw Massacre as well. The ones from the 90s. Pretty hard to find them here in Australia. But there was like one VHS copy from like, it was an ex-rental from a video store or something. And that was going for like, it was like $200 or something. Just a ridiculous amount of money. Anyway, just thought I would update you all on my life a little bit. You know, I love making these videos. They're always a pleasure. If you've gotten to this point in the video, thanks for watching. It means the world to me. And I'll be back with some more content for yous, you know, next couple of days. I've had the David Beckham Bold Instinct, the Eau de Toilette for a long time, but I just picked up the Eau de Parfum, and I'm going to do a comparison video on those. So stay tuned to that one. As always, guys, thanks for being a part of all of this. Thanks for giving me a platform. And if you haven't subbed to my Aussie horror channel yet, please pop on over there, drop me a sub, because I'm uploading there very regularly. Probably more regularly than here, honestly. I'm doing vintage horror movie watch parties, I'm doing video essays, and I'm also doing I'm reading paranormal true stories that I find on Reddit as well. Just a great deal of fun. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and until the next one, my name is Aussie Marcel.